Alright gang, let's wrap up the first hour with our first tag team match of the night, which is going to see Farouk and Bradshaw, the A.P.A, set to go up against Sweet Stan Lane and beautiful Bobby Eaton, the Midnight Express.
This next tag team match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle at a combined weight of 540 pounds, here are Farouk and Bradshaw, A.P.A.
Two legendary tag teams set to rock the house in our first half closer, and they're both incredibly tough teams. So I'm expecting a fairly explosive encounter between them. But forget about me trying to call a winner. You've put together a real gem for our first tag match tonight, Myron, honey. Do you have any guesstimates on what we might see out of this one?
Nope, they're two fantastic tag teams and there is no way I'm going to even try to predict the winner here.
Their opponents, along with James Cornette, at a combined weight of 525 pounds, Sweet Stan Lane, and beautiful Bobby Eaton, the Midnight Express.
The trio of Stan Lane, Bobby Eaton, and James Cornette, the original Midnight Express. Although there is some contention as to what constitutes the original Midnight Express. Some say it's Dennis Condrey and Stan Lane, some say it's Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton. But there is no Dennis Condrey here this evening. It's just Stan Lane, Bobby Eaton, and Jim Cornette getting ready to go against Farouk and Bradshaw. And I'll tell you what, I think that if James Cornette does what he usually does, this match could lean towards the Midnight Express quite easily. He's schizophrenic sometimes. You never know. He's like the box of chocolates Forrest Gump talks about. You never know what you're going to get with James Cornette. He's either going to get extreme protestations or he'll whack you upside the head with a tennis racket. You just never know. Alright, it'll be Bradshaw and beautiful Bobby Eaton initiating contact in this tag team matchup to close out the first hour of tonight's Rage as Tom Kanamura sounds the bell. Here we go. A right that doesn't go anywhere. Eaton gets a hold of Bradshaw. A suplex with a pin. 1, 2. A near fall that early on. A stomp to the face from beautiful Bobby Eaton. A driving knee into the head of Bradshaw. Bradshaw gets his knee driven into the canvas. Bobby Eaton catches an enziguri to the side of the head from Bradshaw. Bradshaw rounds him up. Eaton counters very quickly. Back into the suplex one more time, this time without a pin. Bobby Eaton gets a hold of Bradshaw. Sets him up in the abdominal stretch. Referee checking him out, but a hip toss from Bradshaw disengages the hold. Bradshaw catches a kick to the midsection. Bobby Eaton quickly countered by Bradshaw. Bradshaw gets a hold of him. Gets a hold of the trunks, has him up for the long vertical suplex. Bobby Eaton laid out on the canvas for the first time as Bradshaw starts to open up with hard right hands to the head. Bradshaw steps out and tags in Farouk. Ron Farouk Simmons moving in on Bobby Eaton, who's still laid out. Jim Cornette looking on with some degree of consternation as another set of hard right hands, this time from Farouk, tags Bobby Eaton. A stomp to the back from Farouk. Farouk gets the leg swept. Bobby Eaton gets a hold of him. Has him up and a vertical suplex for Farouk. And here comes Stan Lane on the tag. The Midnight Express determined to win this matchup against the A.P.A. Stan Lane with a hard right hand to the head of Farouk on the wrong side of the ring and in trouble. A gouge to the face puts Farouk in the corner. Here comes Bobby Eaton again on the tag. Eaton up on the middle rope, double axe handle to the arm of Farouk. Farouk rounded up by Eaton, whipped to the ropes. A swift kick right to the face of Farouk. Bobby Eaton Escorting Farouk to the Midnight Express corner, smashes his head into the turnbuckle, turns it over to Stan Lane, and here comes another double team. Farouk slammed. And oh, a senton from Stan Lane. Stan Lane with a hard right to Farouk into a sleeper hold. Tom Kanamura checking it out. Bradshaw seen enough. He comes to the rescue, but Bobby Eaton takes him out with a Hurricane Rana. Both legal men back up on their feet as Farouk gets a hold of Stan Lane, hanging him up the top rope. Farouk steps to the outside. And now everybody's on the outside. Stan Lane catches a knee from Farouk. A hard right spins him around. Bradshaw is laid out. Back suplex from Farouk. Farouk turning Lane over. Lane shoves him back with both boots. Gathers Farouk back up to a standing position. Farouk says, "Oh, no, you don't." But Stan Lane, whoa, countered with a clothesline by Farouk as the referee continues to count. Farouk making his way back inside the ring. Stan Lane. Whoa, look at this. Bobby Eaton taken out by Farouk, followed up with a clothesline. Farouk taking out both opponents here. Here's a leg drop from Farouk. Stan Lane recovering as Bradshaw is brought in on the tag. Stan Lane whips Bradshaw to the corner. There's a clothesline taking Bradshaw down to the canvas. Bradshaw counters with a kick quickly, back up on his feet and going for an immediate pin. One. Barely just a one. Bradshaw moves in on Lane. Whoa! Wrist clutch kick right to the side of the head. Bradshaw gathers Lane up again by the trunk, snap suplex. And down he goes as Farouk comes in again. Stan Lane slowly getting back up to his feet. A clothesline takes him right back down again. And Farouk starting to press the attack here as the A.P.A. starts to pull away from the Midnight Express. A spinning punch from Farouk puts Lane on the canvas as Farouk makes his way to the top turnbuckle. And here he comes, elbow across the chest of Stan Lane. Followed up with a leg drop across the throat. Farouk steps up. Here comes Bradshaw. The A.P.A. with their tag team mechanics at peak performance. As Bradshaw takes himself to the top turnbuckle as well. Stan Lane still laid out, catches a second elbow from Bradshaw. Here's a pin with a cover. 1, 2. Bobby Eaton right there to break it up. Farouk gets a hold of him and shows him the door. Stan Lane with a kick to the head to Bradshaw. Bradshaw whipped to the ropes by Lane. A knee to the midsection. Oh, both of them got hurt on that one. Running Bulldog takes Bradshaw down face first. Farouk working on Bobby Eaton on the outside as Stan Lane delivers several stomps to Bradshaw. A driving knee right to the head from Stan Lane. Sweet Stan Lane winds up the arm on Bradshaw, clothesline, takes Bradshaw down. Lane going for the pin, but Farouk right there to break it up. A drop kick from Bobby Eaton takes out Farouk. A blatant choke to Bradshaw. Bradshaw rolls to the outside. Jim Cornette getting directly involved here. Rolls, tries to roll Bradshaw back inside the ring, but to no avail. Bradshaw back in the ring. Bobby Eaton with a cheap shot as Stan Lane takes advantage of it. There's a snapmare and a grinding boot into the face of Bradshaw. Jim Cornette rallying the Midnight Express here as Bobby Eaton takes over on the tag. Bradshaw trying to make his way to the corner, succeeds in doing so, and here comes Farouk. Bobby Eaton misses with one move and compensates with another shot to the midsection. Escorting Farouk to the ropes. Up and over the top rope, out onto the floor. And now Farouk bringing in Stan Lane the hard way, floating over him, blow to the head. Another to the back as Bobby Eaton makes his way back inside the ring. Farouk up on the top rope. Delivers a double axe handle to Bobby Eaton. Eaton slams Farouk face first down to the canvas. Stan Lane still non-compass menace at the present time. A clothesline from Farouk, taking Bobby Eaton down to the mat. Stan Lane gathered up from his nap by Farouk. Has him up. Oh, what a spine buster from Ron Farouk Simmons. Turning his attention back to Bobby Eaton, brings him back inside the ring the hard way, delivers a clubbing overhand blow to Bobby Eaton. Eaton counters with a kick to the midsection, misses with the enziguri. Farouk with a double axe handle. A right from Bobby Eaton, and a snap suplex to Farouk with a pin. What? Barely just a one. Farouk gathered up into a, oh, what a fly swatter. A sit out from Bobby Eaton with a pin. 1, 2, and still another near fall. In this fairly intense tag team matchup, Farouk getting back up to a standing position as Stan Lane is brought in on the tag. Farouk stands center ring, a kick to the midsection, and whoa, what a nasty double arm DDT from Stan Lane. Here's another couple. 1, 2. Farouk getting that left shoulder up, and whoa, Stan Lane is upset. He thought he had it, but he sure as heck didn't. Stan Lane, having to return to zero, turns it over to Bobby Eaton instead. The Midnight Express, also very, very competent in the tag team world. Couple of hard uppercuts from Bobby Eaton. He's got Farouk all the way up, but Farouk with a little mumbo jumbo and a clothesline to the back of the head of Bobby Eaton. Eaton countering with elbows to the midsection of Farouk. Farouk gets the arm wound up by Eaton and a snap, followed up with a dropkick, putting Farouk back on the canvas again. Bobby Eaton making his way topside here. Bradshaw tries to stop it, but no good. A leg drop across the chest of Farouk. Here's another pin attempt. 1. Bradshaw right there to break it up before a count of 2. A beautiful moonsault from Bobby Eaton. Farouk rolls to the outside as Eaton trash talks him. The Midnight Express. Whoa, look at this. Right through the ropes, a human missile, taking Farouk down to the floor on the outside as the referee counts. Bobby Eaton gets hung up on the top rope by Bradshaw. He goes back for more. Gets countered yet again as Farouk gradually makes his way back towards the ring. Decides to go another route instead. Making his way back inside as Bobby Eaton locks him up, but elbows to the midsection from Farouk. Prevents any further dragging. Whoa! What a shoulder tackle. As Farouk goes for the pin. 1, 2. Bobby Eaton powering out. Stan Lane there to make the save just in case. Farouk rounds up Eaton. Eaton countering with elbows. Farouk backed off. A hard right from beautiful Bobby Eaton. A side suplex to Farouk. And the momentum has gone back and forth like Hollywood romances here as Stan Lane is brought in on the tag. Farouk still laid out near his own team's corner. A leg snap from Stan Lane. Bradshaw with a cheap shot to the head of Stan Lane. Stan Lane pays him back with a shot. Follows up with a stomp to Farouk, turns his attention back to Bradshaw, and a drop kick puts Bradshaw out on the floor. Farouk counters with a shot to the midsection, a kick to the midsection. He's got a hold of Lane, has him up, and oh, Dominator. That could be it right here. Here's a cover. 1. Bobby Eaton right there to break it up. Farouk having to start from zero again. A stomp to the midsection of Sweet Stan Lane. Farouk countered with another elbow. Lane with a knee to the head of Farouk. And now look at this. Draws the knee into the arm. Sweet Stan Lane with both members of the A.P.A. laid out on their side of the ring. As Stan Lane delivers a couple of more stomps to Farouk and then follows it up and goes after Bradshaw as well. Hard right hand takes him down again. Both members of the A.P.A. laid out as the Midnight Express begins to pull away here. Stan Lane, a little showboating for the fans. Farouk catches the running bulldog head first, almost into the ring steps. Stan Lane makes his way back inside the ring, gets a hold of Bradshaw, hangs him up the top rope, and down he goes again. Farouk taking his time about getting back in the ring, gets a hold of Bobby Eaton, whips him into the barricades, locks it up with Stan Lane, has him up with the military press. Oh, slammed down, and now both members of the Midnight Express are laid out. Hard right from Farouk. He goes behind on Stan Lane. Oh, well, he is just trying to block a flow of blood to the brain of Stan Lane, and down he goes. The Midnight Express looking at a serious disadvantage at the present time as Farouk snaps the leg on Stan Lane. Bobby Eaton still laid out. Jim Cornette surprisingly well behaved in this matchup. Hard right hands to the head of Stan Lane from Farouk. Farouk gathers him back up. Bobby Eaton back up on his feet. Nearly driven right into Jim Cornette. Farouk drives him into the barricade instead. Gathers up Lane. Gets a hold of him. Lane counters with a kick. Farouk gets a hold of him again driving him into the barricade. The referee continuing the count here as all this is going on. Farouk rounds up Lane. Front cradle, all the way slam. Beautifully done by Ron Farouk Simmons. Farouk pitches Lane towards the barricades, makes his own way back inside. The referee continuing to count, and Stan Lane is rapidly running out of time and options. Stan Lane completely motionless as Bradshaw's brought in on the tag, and that, oh my, here we go. A shoulder, but Bobby Eaton takes him out. And we are definitely getting very close to the end here. Lane beginning to stir, but it is too late. The A.P.A. winds up winning this matchup by countout.
At 9 minutes and 57 seconds, referee Tom Kanamura has counted out Stan Lane. Your winners via countout, Farouk and Bradshaw. A.P.A.
There you have it. A countout win for Farouk and Bradshaw, the A.P.A. over Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, the original Midnight Express. And here you see some highlights. What a match. A countout win for Farouk and Bradshaw. And that concludes the first hour of tonight's RWL Rage. There's a lot of action coming up in the second half, and we hope you'll join us for it right after the break.